Every business owner will face the same obstacle. The requirements for them to grow their business change so that the role that they've been in is no longer the role that they need to be in order to facilitate the next level of growth. So for example, say a guy is good at plumbing, right? He's been a plumber for years. He wants to go out there on his own and run his own plumbing company. It's his proficiency plumbing that's going to take him from 0 level to 5 level or whatever these numbers are. Like, it's going to help him climb that ladder, and he may hire 2 or 3 or 4 guys and have a little team, but still, he's firsthand involved with plumbing. He's connecting pipes, he's laying out plans, he's making sure everything runs downhill that needs to run downhill. Like, he just knows that stuff. But at some point, there's going to be a level of growth where the issues that he faces are no longer plumbing related. Now he's got to deal more with human resources. He's going to be getting, hey boss, I can't come to work today. I got the flu, and then my truck blew up and I can't make it to the job site. I need help. All these become chaos management. Then it becomes payroll management. Then it becomes tax strategy. So no longer are his skills and proficiency. He could be a master A1 plumber, like the best of the best, but he's going to hit a ceiling. There's nobody out there telling you, once you do this, you need to take off your plumber's hat and put on this hat, this hat, this hat, this hat. If you're hitting a ceiling and especially if you've hit that ceiling, come down, bounced in a similar frame of revenue multiple times, then that is a very clear indicator that there's a new role up here that your company requires, and it's either got to be you, it's got to be somebody else, but it's missing. There's deficiency there.
Yeah.
And you've got to fill it.
So let's take one of our clients. He's a general contractor. He's doing 1.2 to 1.9 million each year is kind of the range he's been in. So he's hit the ceiling and bounced up and down a few times. Based on what you're saying, he might need to look at, okay, you're no longer a general contractor. Or like, you need to get out of that frame and graduate or evolve to, you're somebody new if you want to break through that ceiling of 1.9.
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm saying. And I guarantee you there's things that he needs to delegate that he's holding on to, that he's having a hard time letting go of, because that's the classic. I mean, that's 99.9% of people that we talk to, our clients. There's something they just don't want to let go of, or maybe multiple things they don't want to let go of. So there's skills that they're not bringing in, because when you're holding on to stuff and you're not bringing in new skills and you're not doing new things, you can't become a new person. So you're going to continue to be the same person, which means by definition, you're going to continue to get pretty much the same results. So if you want to see a change, you got to be the change you want to see in the world. It's kind of funny,
Nice.
But you really do. You do have to embody some of those things. And in order to do, it's hard though. It's a process. And I can tell you, I've gone through it multiple times. I know what it's like. I've gone up, I've made changes, I've slipped down into ruts and drifted and come back and made changes. And it isn't just a matter of like, you need a process to follow. You need frameworks to follow. You need people and systems to delegate stuff to, so that you can't just say like, oh, okay, I'm not going to deal with that. You need to decide what it is that you're not going to deal with. Then you need to have systems whereby you're going to manage the things you're not dealing with but are delegating to somebody else. See how that's different than plumbing? See, that's different than general contracting? It's now system engineering. It's now management of delegated tasks. So that same general contractor, if that person wants to continue to climb like this, their life on a day-to-day basis might look so different 365 days from now if they want to keep doing that. So I can show them exactly how, but they've got to be willing to let go of some of the things they do now, which is for sure, I would bet my life on it, every dollar in my bank account, that there's things that he would say, well, no, I mean, I need to be doing that. That's probably something that I should do. And some of those things are okay. And then he may be right in many of those things, but he's got to be willing to let go of some of them too. He's got to look at this. If there's a list this big of, I should be the guy that does this, well then we got to whack like this many out, like this bottom part down here, we need to get rid of and put on somebody else's shoulders with the right systems and the right management techniques so that the job still gets done, but he isn't the one doing it. Now, if he's got this much bandwidth in his schedule, what are we going to fill this time with? Well, we're going to bump it up here to things that truly he needs to be doing. So if somebody can say, get rid of this first, delegate this, here's a system that you can keep an eye on doing it, but not do it all yourself. And third, here's some of the things that you want to go look at spending some of your time doing now. So let's say that brings in 5 hours a week. One of my favorites is hire an assistant because that's the easiest place to start. You can bring somebody in, delegate low-level stuff where even if it's botched, it's not that big of a deal. Like sure, you may look stupid, get some egg on your face, have an email that goes out to the wrong person or, but we're not talking about catastrophic damage. So low price tag, low cost of errors if made, and potentially 5, 6, 8 hours a week back in your time. If you use that time now to start working on your business, and then second, you use some of that time to go meet with your CPA once a quarter. And you just have a conversation. I'm going to pay you for 1 hour of your time. I'm just going to sit here and talk to you about life, my business, the whole thing. And that CPA is looking at it all through the lens of, I'm a certified public accountant. I'm here to give you financial advice, accounting advice, tax advice. And you go, wait, whoa, hang on. Do you realize that what are you doing? You should be writing this off. Wait a minute. How have you been categorizing that? $36,000 a year that you can now claim as business expense that you weren't claiming. Now, how many more of those are there? Because I guarantee I have some. And I love finding new ones, but I have them. You have them. Everybody has them. And that $36,000 difference, now all of a sudden, well, you've probably paid for your assistant in one of those things. So now you're at a net break even. But you also still have this 5, 8 hours a week and you're learning. So as that old saying goes, no man ever steps in the same river twice. It's not the same man, it's not the same river. So if you learn these new rules and now you start thinking, what else is in my books that I'm doing wrong? I'm keeping my books the same way that I have been for 20 years. And when I started 20 years ago, I was 20 years old. I didn't know anything. So you start analyzing those occasionally and you bring new questions to that CPA because now you have a meeting coming up in 90 days. After the first one, you're like, man, we just made $36,000. Now you start keeping notes. You see how these behaviors create an identity that is a little different because as your behaviors change and who you or this entrepreneur changes and their day-to-day things, like the things they do all day long change, the results that they get will change.